Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava, page 99b, top of the page with the words Rava Amar, Dekuli Alma, etc. Rava said another interpretation. Everyone agrees that the obligation to pay a wage is incurred continuously from the beginning of the period of a craftsman is hired to end. And everyone agrees that with regard to one who betroths a woman with a loan, she is not betrothed. And everyone agrees that a craftsman does not acquire ownership rights through the enhancement of the vessel. But with what are we dealing here? We are dealing with a case where he added a jewel of his own for her. Rabbi Meir holds that if a man betroths a woman with a loan and one pruta, her mind is focused on the pruta. Therefore, in this case, the jewel serves as the betrothal money. And the rabbis hold that if a man betroths a woman with a loan and one pruta, her mind is focused on the loan. So the loan serves as the betrothal money. And if one betroths a woman with a loan, she is not betrothed or betrothed. And Rabbi Meir and the rabbis disagree in the dispute between these Tanaim. As it is taught in the Tosefta, Kedushin 3:4. If one says to a woman, "Be betrothed to me with the payment for which I have worked for you," she is not betrothed, as the payment is a loan, since she already owes him this money. But if he says, "Be betrothed to me with the payment for which I will work for you," she is betrothed, as from the moment he is entitled to the money, he gives it to her for her betrothal. Rabbi Natan says, if he says, "Be betrothed to me with the payment for which I will work for you," she is not betrothed, as Rabbi Natan holds that the obligation to pay a wage is incurred continuously from the beginning of the period he was hired to its end, which means that upon the completion of the labor it is a loan. And all the more so if he says, "Be betrothed to me with the payment for which I have worked for you." The Braita cites a third opinion, and Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says, actually, they said that the halacha is, regardless of whether he said, "with the payment for which I have worked for you," or whether he said, "with the payment for which I will work for you," she is not betrothed. But if he added a jewel of his own for her, she is betrothed. The Gemara clarifies the dispute. What difference is there between the first Tana and Rabbi Natan? The difference between them is with regard to a wage. Is the obligation incurred continuously or only upon the completion of the work? The difference between Rabbi Natan and Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi is the issue of a loan and one pruta. Rabbi Natan holds that if a man betroths a woman with a loan and one pruta, her mind is focused on the loan. And in this case, his jewel is disregarded. And Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi holds that her mind is focused on the pruta, in this case, the jewel, and she is betrothed with the jewel. The Gemara now returns to the topic of a craftsman who damages the item with which he is working. Shmuel says, an expert butcher who damaged an animal by slaughtering it incorrectly, thereby rendering it non-kosher, is liable to pay the owner of the animal for damage. Why? He is one who causes damage. He is negligent. He is like one who is told by the animal's owner to slaughter it from here, meaning the area of the throat where ritual slaughter is performed, and he slaughtered it from there, a different area of the throat, in violation of the owner's wishes. The Gemara asks, why must he say both that the butcher is one who causes damage and that he is negligent. The Gemara explains, if Shmuel had said only that he is one who causes damage, I would say that this statement applies only in a case where the butcher slaughtered the animal for pay, in which case, due to the extra responsibility that he bears, he is considered to be one who caused damage and is liable to pay, even in a case where the damage was unintentional. But in a case where he does the work for free, I would say no, he's exempt from liability in a case where the damage was unintentional. Shmuel therefore teaches us that the butcher is negligent, and one who works without pay is analogous to an unpaid bailee who is liable to pay for damage caused by negligence. Rav Chama bar Guria raised an objection to Shmuel from the Tosefta 10:10 with regard to one who gives an animal to a butcher, and the butcher killed it in a way that rendered it an animal carcass. If the butcher is an expert, then he is exempt from liability. If he is an ordinary person without particular expertise in the act of ritual slaughter, he is liable. And if the owner of the animal pay the butcher, then regardless of whether he is an ordinary person or whether he is an expert, the butcher is liable to pay for the damage. This indicates that an expert butcher who slaughtered the animal improperly is exempt if he slaughtered it without pay. Shmuel said to him, "May your mind be muddled for raising a ridiculous objection." Okay. Le'achar muchach. May your mind be muddled. Okay. One of the sages came and raised the same objection to Shmuel. Shmuel said to him, "Now you shall receive what your friend received from me, since I say to you my statement in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir. And you say to me," in other words, you raise an objection based on the opinion of the rabbis. "Why were you not precise in your consideration of my choice of words? As I say, he is one who causes damage. He is negligent. He is like one who is told by the animal's owner to slaughter it from here, and he slaughtered it from there. Who accepts this reasoning? It is Rabbi Meir who says he should have taken upon himself the responsibility to perform his task properly, and if he did not, he is liable to pay for the damage that he caused. The other Braita is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, who exempt him from liability." The Gemara asks, which statement of Rabbi Meir is Shmuel referring to? If we say it is this statement of Rabbi Meir, that is difficult. Parenthetically, the Gemara states that the letters of Kuf Lamed Nun serve as a mnemonic device for the three statements of Rabbi Meir that will be cited. It stands for he tied it, to die, and broke. Kesharo, Litzboa, and Nishbara. Colon. He tied it, to tie it, and he broke. The Gemara returns to the matter at hand. As we learned, in the Mishnah in 45b, if the ox's owner tied it with reins to fence or locked the gate before it in an appropriate manner, but nevertheless the ox emerged and caused damage, whether the ox is innocuous or forewarned, the owner is liable, since this is not considered sufficient precaution to prevent damage. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir, as the Gemara explains in 45b. Rabbi Meir holds that a forewarned ox requires a heightened level of safeguarding, and since the owner did not safeguard it, he is liable. The same would apply here, that one who agrees to perform a task must exercise care in executing it. Otherwise, he will be held liable to pay for damage. The Gemara explains why this cannot be the statement of Rabbi Meir that Shmuel was referring to. There, in that Mishnah, the sages disagree with regard to the interpretation of biblical verses, not logical reasoning. As the Gemara explains there, and conclusions cannot be drawn from that halacha to this one. Rather, it is this statement of Rabbi Meir that Shmuel is referring to, as we learned in a Mishnah in 100b, if one gave wool to a dyer to dye it red for him and he dyed it black, or to dye it black and he dyed it red, Rabbi Meir says the dyer gives the owner the value of his wool, indicating that he is liable to pay for the damage. The Gemara rejects this opinion. This statement also does not prove that according to Rabbi Meir, a worker is liable to pay for a job performed improperly, since there the dyer burned the wool, thereby removing it from the owner by direct action. Direct action. I think we will stop here and continue. Oh no, go one more thing. One more paragraph. Rather, just to finish the idea. Okay, rather it is this statement of Rabbi Meir that Shmuel is referring to. As we learned in the Braita, if one's jug broke on the road and he did not remove it, or if his camel fell on the road and he did not stand it up, Rabbi Meir says he is liable for the damage that they cause, and the rabbis say he is exempt according to human laws, but liable according to the laws of heaven. The Gemara notes, and we maintain that they disagree with regard to the question of whether one who stumbles is considered negligent. According to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, one who stumbles is considered negligent, since he should have paid attention while walking. He is therefore liable for whatever damage he causes. In the case of an expert butcher as well, Rabbi Meir holds that he is considered negligent when damaging the animal he slaughtered, and the rabbis hold that he is not negligent and therefore exempt from liability. We'll stop here and continue with part 2.